The joy of giving. I mean, when we're kids, what's Christmas all about? What we're going to get. But when we grow up, what's it all about? It's giving. To see the expressions on faces, to see the difference it makes. And just like those kids, I mean, when you give, it's hilarious. It's joyful. It's like, wow, this is amazing. We are blessed to be a blessing. The second thing, in Matthew 26, it talks about we are blessed to give extravagantly.
While Jesus was in Bethany, in the home of a man known as Simon the leper, a woman came to him with an alabaster jar of very expensive perfume, which she poured on his head as he was reclining at the table. When the disciples saw this, they were indignant.
Why this waste?
They asked.
This perfume could have been sold at a high price. And the money given to the poor.
Aware of this, Jesus said to them,
"Why are you bothering this woman? She has done a beautiful thing to me. The poor you will always have with you, but you will not always have me." When she poured this perfume on my body, she did it to prepare me for burial. I tell you the truth. Wherever this gospel is preached throughout the world, what she has done will also be told in memory of her.
So you might wonder, what's the big deal? So she poured some perfume on his head. Well, this wasn't Brut, okay? Do they sell Brut anymore? No, Old Spice. This wasn't Old Spice. Do they sell Old Spice anymore? Okay, it wasn't some cheap perfume, all right? Sorry if you're wearing Brut. I apologize. Oh, I get into trouble more often just by opening this mouth. Anyhow, it wasn't cheap. The scriptures say it cost the average person a year's salary. Imagine she had saved up absolutely everything that she had, and it was a year's salary that she went out and she spent. And then in this one act of extravagant generosity, pours it out. And so the apostles, who haven't yet figured out that they're blessed to be a blessing, they say, well, why wasn't it given to the poor? Why wasn't it sold and given to the poor? This act of extravagance was so important in Jesus' teaching that he said, wherever the gospel is preached, this story will be spoken of as well. Notice the connection. Wherever the gospel is preached, this story will be told as well. Do you know why? Because the gospel, God's extravagant grace and gift to us, so expensive, demands, out of love, the capture of understanding that we are blessed and that we are to bless others extravagantly. Just crazy. Joyfully and extravagantly. Finally, we are blessed to give sacrificially. Look at Mark chapter 12. The Gospel of Mark in chapter 12. You'll find it on page 718. Mark chapter 12 and verse 43. Actually, let's begin with verse 4. Jesus sat down opposite the place where the offerings were put, and watched the crowd putting their money into the temple treasury. Many rich people threw in large amounts, but a poor widow came and put in 2 very small copper coins, worth only a fraction of a penny. Calling his disciples to him, Jesus said, "I tell you the truth, this poor widow has put more into the treasury than all the others. They all gave out of their wealth, but she, out of her poverty, put in everything, all she had to live on." Imagine that. Here's this poor widow. She comes on in, and the rich people have put in great amounts of money. And I'm sure other people that were looking on saying, "Amazing, amazing. Look at how generous that person is." But Jesus says, this poor widow has put in everything that she had. She has given more than the others. What he's saying is this: she has busted open her piggy bank, and it's the last bit of money that she had, and she brought it. She has sold the equity in her house. She didn't even have a house anymore, and she brought it. She cashed out all her RRSPs, and that's what she brought. She doesn't have anything left. She doesn't know where her breakfast is coming. She has given sacrificially. She is giving out of her need, not out of her abundance. She has given what she doesn't have, not based upon what we have. You see, for many of us, this is how we calculate what we'll give. We determine what we need to live on. We add a little bit more just in case. We take out our savings or RSPs or whatever else it happens to be, and we have this much left. And then we decide what we're going to give out of this much left. In other words, we're deciding what we're going to give based upon the abundance that we have. Not outrageously, extravagantly, nor sacrificially. And Jesus says the blessing comes when we are outrageously generous. I want to illustrate by this next clip. And I want you to understand that this clip comes from the Depression era. And I want you to notice what this person gives out of his need, not out of his abundance.
What are you going to do for shoes?
This clip moved me because I don't struggle with having shoes. I have shoes. But in that era, not everyone did. And they didn't have the money to just go out and buy more. He didn't have the money. He couldn't answer, "What are you going to do for shoes?" But he saw this man whom he was